Hi, welcome back to Vulnerability Let's Talk. My name is Dr. Ayisha Zakia Jefferson, and we are going to talk today about losing and restoring our internal power. As always, I have three, well, at least I like to have three amazing guests and some returning, which I absolutely love. I'm trying to keep them here. I have Christine Fox, who is new with us today, who is a beautiful entrepreneur, and I'll let her introduce some more about herself. We have Yolanda Stone, who is a coach, entrepreneur, government contract. She'll talk more about herself as she has in the past. And then we have Dr. Katherine Igah-Phillips, and she is a beautiful MD, coach, and multiple entrepreneur. So I have these amazing dynamic women coming on to talk about losing and regaining and restoring, reclaiming our internal power. And so I already see Christine is on here. I'm just accepting. Oops, hold on. For whatever reason, when I keep trying to accept it, Christine is not going through. Hold on. I'm going to send you an invite. Oh, she did join. Hey!
Hey.
Yolanda, I'm going to send you an invite now as we wait on, we'll be waiting on Kat in just a second. I was introducing you.
I heard you. Hi.
Kat. How are you doing, Christine? You look beautiful.
Thank you. You do too. I'm doing okay.
Yolanda, I just sent you another invite, and Kat, I just sent you an invite. I need to pull these questions up.
Hello.
Hey, Yolanda.
Hi.
Hey, Sunshine.
Hi.
Hi, people in the chat.
Hey, Kat.
Hi, Kat. Hi, Yolanda.
How are
Nice to
you?
meet you
Hi.
guys.
Nice to meet you.
You look beautiful and
Nice
bright.
to meet you. How are
I'm
you ladies today?
good.
Good.
Mainin' and tainin'. Mainin' and tainin'. So we're going to jump right in. Our topic today, I've already said, is losing and restoring our internal power. And so we're going to go ahead, jump in. We got to make hard stops here, and I want to keep you all on here for this hour. So Christine actually came up with this topic. I usually like to say how this topic came about, but I think the topic is right on time, probably for a lot of people. I don't even think that we think about it in the sense of, I don't even think sometimes that people even claim that they have power in the first place. And so I feel like it's important to identify that it exists. And then perhaps people don't identify with it because they've allowed it to be lost over time, or it's been pulled from them over time. And so I would just like to bring awareness to it. I know I always say this, but I do like to reiterate that these lives are for educational purposes and entertainment purposes. We are claiming, at least I say that, we claim to be the expert in our life experience, but not necessarily an expert on the subject. So I guess that makes us an expert on the subject in our own fashion, okay? And so we give this information, we share our lives in hopes of bringing awareness, understanding, clarity, healing, all the above to anybody who's listening, and also to ourselves too, because Yolanda was just saying earlier, this is like her own personal therapy sessions, and it's doing the same for me as well. So I'm glad you even noted that. So first question, how do you define internal power or personal power? Anyone? Thank you.
I'll go.
Yes.
No, this is one of my
Oh,
favorite
cool.
things to
I
talk
didn't even
about.
know
I saw the topic and I was like, yes. Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
This is I love it. I love it. But for me, and I say strongly for me, I was just say, for me, my internal power would be that like electric and magnetic
Hmm.
essence of myself that is inside of this capsule that I have that I call the human body. It's like everything that makes up every part of my being, of my existence, that I've wielded together consciously,
Okay.
subconsciously, unconsciously to create this thing, this essence that I leave behind as like residue every time I leave a room or leave a conversation or leave a building when people are like still talking, like, oh wow, Dr. K, you know, da da da. You know, for me, my physical self has
Okay.
gone, has left the building, but a
That
part of me
power.
is still there with
Yeah.
these people and part,
Okay.
yes, exactly. So that's how I would
Okay.
describe it
All
for
right.
myself.
Christine or Yolanda?
I'll go. Um, I have some notes here, by the way. I have a little brain fog, so I will be referring to my notes. But
Okay.
I just I think like my inner fire. So you know, the thing that makes me my soul's purpose,
Hmm.
and my grace, my compassion, my resilience, my love, all of those things combined are what are my power.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I
I
love
love the
that. Yeah, I love
detail.
the grace too. I never even thought about that power being grace, but yeah, very
Yeah.
good. Thank you.
Mm.
Yolanda?
Look, I love both answers, ladies.
Me
Um,
too.
for for me, originally when I connected what my internal power was, I would connect it to physical manifestations. Now
Hmm.
I am connecting it to how I actually feel
Oh,
and how I leave other people feeling in my presence. So kind of like what Dr. K said. So mine is morphing and I'm still trying to figure it out because for me, if my internal powers is leaving you feeling good about yourself, you know, like going forth and doing better things. And then for me, I strive to experience joy.
oh,
And then like when I'm in alignment and I am experiencing joy, then everything else gets my overflow.
Mm.
So
okay.
I'm really trying to
Mhm.
define that
Yeah.
more. So that's why I kind of hesitated because I'm like, I was gonna say this, and then I'm like, but it's really me experiencing joy, so I can
Oh,
flow in my alignment.
Mm.
experiencing joy. Joy is one of my favorite words. Like that's probably a constant in my prayers. Is I feel like that's the ultimate. You know,
Mm.
whatever that means for us individually. So yeah, I love that. Um, I would define it ditto. I'm pulling from everybody. I would define it too, adding on to what has already been said is, I think you guys have all said it in different ways. Just having a sense of self-awareness for me is internal power because again, we think about that loosely, but there's many of us who are out here who are not self-aware. And so who do not take self-inventory, those type of things. So I would say that coupled with and the self-awareness too for the positive sides of me and the negative
Yeah.
sides of me. Like for me to have the ability to be able to check myself, I
Mm.
think there's power in that. But I would also say something similar to what Kat said, like it's that the only way I can explain it is like it's something that can't be explained. And I used to say the same thing, like when people would ask me what I was looking for, like when I was dating, and I was like, it's not a look, it's not a thing that a person does, it's a that you just I can't explain the it just is. And so I feel like that would be a part of my definition for personal power. Yeah.
Yeah.
So next question, do you think that internal power or personal power is something that we have to build up over time, or do you think that we just have it, that we're born with, that it's just innate?
I go. So, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
You go ahead. It's fine.
Okay.
No, you go. So for me, originally, I thought that it was something that you build over time, but through witnessing like my son and now my daughter, she's only 12 months, I feel that you're born with it, but then you lose it over time, you know, living through our environments and our experiences, you lose it. And then when you get older, when you become aware, go through coaching and all of those avenues, then you regain your power back. But I believe, I do feel strongly, when you're born with it.
Okay.
Yes, I think the same. I think that it's a gift that we're given. We all have it, but there are so many environmental influences and all kinds of things that actually can take us away from our power. And there are so many people who can benefit from us feeling that we don't have power. And so it's a thing that we can lose over time and regain it. And we learn from our different life experiences and become even stronger, and maybe even discover ways that we were not in it or weren't showing up as our whole selves. And, you know, yeah. And so it's something that I think that it can come and go, but it's always there. Just maybe our awareness of it isn't there.
Great.
All right.
Great answer.
Love that. We're not showing up as our whole selves. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Kat, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, I agree-ish. I think I feel that I agree with what is said. I feel that we are born with it. I feel that we all possess it, that we all have it. I feel that personal power is a birthright. I feel like it's something that is inherited even from your ancestors, and their personal power is then passed to you, mixes to make your own personal power. But the only thing for me is lose is a strong word for me. So
Yes.
I reframe it. I don't feel that I would lose it, because it's not like I misplaced it. You know, like I just feel like there are times when we can shift out of alignment with it. And it's almost like more of like a forgetting than a losing, if that makes sense. And it almost takes something in your environment, even a person or a coach or a friend or a family member, to help you remember, like, come back, like snap back into it, like this, you know, and things will pull you out of alignment, and then things will put you back in alignment. You can pull you out of alignment, and you can put you back in alignment, just like a diet or you know, anything else that we're trying to align with. But losing it just seems very like, oh my gosh, it's gone. Like, I don't think it's gone. I think to the point that was just made, it's like there's a lack of awareness that needs to be brought, like the flashlight needs to be shined back on that and redirected.
And that makes me think of too, and I know, Christine, I think you'll resonate with this. Dr. Tama always talks about returning home. And so what you said is, like, it's there. We just have to return home. We have to figure out our way back, navigate back home. So I love that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we'll I guess we'll do away with loss.
Yeah.
we just misplaced it. Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking about it. I remember I took this course, and you guys have probably had that same experience with some teachers so I do believe the same as what you guys said, that we are born with it. I can remember teachers saying, like, when we got into class, everybody gets an A. Like, you already have an A. And what you, like, from day one, we would walk in and they would say you have an A, but what you do with that A towards the end of the semester you know, is up to you. And so that's how I look at the internal power. You start out with the A, and then what you do with that A over time, let you know whether you have, you know, A, B, C, D, or an F, but that A was always there. That's what you started with. So, yeah, I love that. How do you think people mishandle power or personal power?
Whew. Oh man, I'll start. One example is when we don't choose our words carefully. So going back to what Dr. Kat just said about losing it. You know, if something is God-given, you can't lose that. It's still there, right? And so there's so much power in our words, and it really is important that we choose our words carefully. Yeah, that's one way that we can definitely give our power away.
Oh, that was mine. Okay. It is good.
That's good.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah.
That should be a live topic by itself. Like,
because our words,
anyway,
we have the power to heal ourselves. I mean, we can speak life into somebody, you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Speak, comment. Yes. Oh my goodness. No, I completely, I'm so in love with that answer and completely agree with that answer. Just to add another one, I would say a lot of people mishandle, correct? Is the question mishandle? A lot of people mishandle power by assuming that other people are powerless. I think that sometimes we can get so caught up in ourselves and what we're doing and not doing, and not looking at how you're treating other people and who you're trampling on to get to the top. It doesn't always have to be a crabs in the bucket, or like gotta push someone else over here for me to get over here. And like, I think that this is how historically a lot of people have been taken advantage of. A lot of people have been robbed of their power, have created confusion to make you think you don't have any power. And they make you believe like my power is worth more value than your power. Like all of the manipulations that are going on, whether it be like whole races or one person to another person or groups to another group. I think that's very dangerous, and we should be very cautious of that when we talk about power.
Yeah, all good. All good. Yolanda, you got something to add to that?
Let me see. So for me, I just be transparent. Sometimes it depends on how I feel. I may use my power to sometimes manipulate to get an end result that I want. Right? So sometimes with good intentions, sometimes we're not. It depends on what it is. But I think, you know, piggybacking off what's already been said. But yeah, so for me, it's the manipulation behind it, using your power.
How it's mishandled. Yeah, I love all of these. Yeah, words was mine. I would also say too, if it is something that has been said to me, I think my mishandling would be me actually digesting it as me mishandling it. So if something is said and then I believe it, I feel like that's how I've allowed my power to be mishandled. Yeah. I was actually reading some journals earlier today of my students, and they had to do personal assessments. And I was so impressed because, you know, it's like the INTJ, that personal assessment, that personality assessment. And so you typically, when I read them, the students will get really excited because they've never done it before. And they're like, oh, this looks just like me. This is exactly how I am. But at least half of them said, I agree with this, but this part I actually don't agree with because I'm like this. And I was so impressed with that. I made sure that I put comments in there, but that could have been an opportunity because it is a credible personal assessment that they could have digested it and said, oh, okay, I may need to alter this about myself or actually just fully internalize it. But those students was like, no, I'm not actually like this. I don't treat people like this. This is actually how I do. So this part I would agree. And some of them said I agree with it holistically, but the breakdown I don't agree with. So yeah, that was an area that I feel could be kind of comparable to what we're talking about. But I was just so impressed at 18 years old
because they weren't accepting that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, something that's supposed to be so credible and well known. They were like, I think they need to actually revise this.
Ooh.
Like, good for you. You know, their power could have been mishandled right there. Yeah. All right. What are some misconceptions do you think surrounding power, personal power?
For me, like one of the, I think the misconceptions are like if around personal power is that you're actually strong and that you can endure a lot of pain, a lot of struggle. You don't have to ask for help. So for me, it was like the more that I can endure, like the struggle that people may look and say, oh, she is effortlessly doing it. No, the struggle is real, where I've learned to start saying, no, I don't want to do it. You know, certain things like that, because I thought that I had to do X, Y, and Z to maintain my power. But no, it's the actually opposite of that. It's saying no, it's setting your boundaries. You know, it's being transparent of how you feel. That's what I've been doing a lot of. I am very transparent, but also making sure I choose my words correctly so I don't impact people, because I know I can be very direct. So it's the opposite of what I've learned. You know, I've learned you got to work hard. That is absolutely false. I do not have to work hard. So I'm deprogramming myself to learn. I would love to have a 4-hour work week. I'm just saying, okay? So I'm just trying to reprogram myself to not have to work so hard, not to be strong, to be, you know, be vulnerable. This is hence the series. So I am being way more vulnerable than I used to. So for all those things that we attribute to being like maybe a superpower or to even being strong, I am the opposite now. I'm willing those back, and yeah.
Okay.
I'm taking my layers off.
All right, Kat or Christine?
I think for me, a misconception is that I'm trying to think of how to word this. For me to be aligned with my power is synonymous with arrogance.
Wow.
Or cockiness. Like, I feel like, especially as a people, we've been so detached from our internal power strategically for so long that when a person within our culture actually begins to step into their power, it's like, whoa, like what, you know, calm down, like what you doing? You feeling yourself, you know, like all the things. And it's like, no, I just am confident and have pride in who I am, and I'm aligning with that which I know that I am, my power. And so I feel that we should make it okay for people to do that instead of us, like, you know, making people feel bad about wanting to align with their power, and kind of celebrate confidence a little bit more. I also feel another misconception is that you need an external stimuli to define your power for you. So like a lot of people I come across are like, oh, what book should I read? Or like, what course should I take? Or what workshop should I? And I'm like, it's here already. Like it's already within you. Like there's tools to help you like cultivate and sharpen and grow and align better and more consistently. But to actually unite with it initially, that's a you thing. And you don't have to wait for someone else to give you permission or to tell you that you have it. You know, so I think those are like, for me, common misconceptions.
Yeah, and that's making me think. I mean, I'm kind of watering it down, but it sounds like what you were saying was like really the theme of the Wizard of Oz and in the Wiz, that you had it
Oh
all along,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that home
Hmm.
thing, that personal
Yeah,
power being home,
that's
it's already
true.
been there, what you were searching for. So yeah,
Hmm.
good. Yeah, I love that.
Hmm.
I had kind of a similar thought, which was that people often believe that personal power is rooted in selfishness or kind of like an ego.
Oh,
And especially if you are stepping into your power and you're creating boundaries and you're saying no to things and yes to, the things, and people who benefited from you not having those boundaries in the past may feel some type of way and notice the changes in you and chalk that up
Yeah.
to you being selfish or that you switched up or that you're feeling yourself too much. And
oh,
yeah, and some people can take that personally, especially if they don't have their own um, their own idea of what their power is. If they can't
mm-hmm.
really see that you are doing this for yourself, it has nothing to do with them per se, but it's how you're trying to show up in the world, which ultimately does benefit everyone else too. If you are within your own power, yeah, I think that people can often see that as you being, in your ego.
Yeah, and G. Dalston, Dr. Austin, she said, yes, it is within. So, yeah, good. Um, I will add, again, ditto to everything. I feel like a misconception is that personal power has to be like bravado, like it has to be a crescendo to it, like it has to be loud. And personal power, there's power in silence, there's power in, I'll be truthful with you. Sometimes the most powerful person when I walk in the room is the one who's sitting in the corner, and I'm usually like drawn, like, why is that person? Like you could just see or feel the strength over there, over the person who's loud. So yeah, I feel like a huge misconception is that it has to be like boisterous and yeah, and people have to like overexert themselves. I think somebody kind of said that already, but that's just not the case. So a lot of the times when we shut down and we shut in, that's a part of us recharging our power or the power, All right. So next question, when do you feel like I was about to say lost. I'm not going to say it because Kat taught us a lesson here. When when do you feel like, or it doesn't have to be, of course, one moment, like you detached from your personal power? Can you anybody give an example of?
Yeah, I can give an example.
Okay.
Times that I've shown up in spaces where I didn't belong. Maybe showing up in jobs that were safe, or just kind of playing it small. I've done that I did it for years, where I could do more. I knew I was capable of more, but I went to the place that was safe, that wasn't really going to challenge me so much. And then I always ended up feeling used and angry and all these different things. But I came to that space and allowed myself to be less than, because I thought of myself as less than. Essentially, if I showed up in a space or in a role where I was capable of more. So yeah, I definitely could feel myself detaching from my power in those scenarios, for sure.
Yeah, no, I can definitely relate with that one. Showing up in places that, yeah, absolutely. Kat or Yolanda?
I'll say I agree also. Let me start there. That was a really good one. I think in addition to that, I would say anytime that I have almost like discounted myself or like discredited my own power. Oh, you want
Ooh,
me to do
I can
this? Why?
resonate with
Like, what?
that.
Like
Yeah.
imposter syndrome. Yeah. Imposter
Yes.
syndrome kicks in, and it's like, wait, y'all want me for the production, or like, what is it like? But you got this person over here that's been doing it for 20 years, and it's like, no,
Mhm.
they want you because they
Yeah.
want you, and just going with it without coming with the like, but why
Hmm.
did like just leave it and just yes and step into it like that for me would be
Yeah.
it.
How about you, Yolanda?
Can you read the question again, please?
Um, Examples of when you felt like you detached from your internal personal power. We're going to say momentarily because I'm going to keep piggybacking off the cat on that one.
Moments.
Right.
See, so then my experience is just different, right? Because I never knew I had an internal power because I didn't have that type of exposure. And I don't know, what your background was on that, Kat. But for me, I never knew I had it until probably once I started coaching. I would look at other people because I worked so hard to try to prove myself this entire time to,
Mm.
to try to feel important, to try to be important, or even to try to be acknowledged, right? So for most of my life, I didn't. I was taught you had to be humble. You don't voice your accolades. You keep it to yourself. You don't want to seem like you're
Ooh.
bragging. I've been taught
Yes.
that until I started learning to deprogram myself from that,
Mm-hmm.
right? So present day, I feel myself detached when I lose my cool because I'm like, why am I letting this person take me clearly out of my element for something that's really not even important to me, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's when my triggers kick in, and then I have to go back to reevaluate. Okay, why are you acting this way? What is hidden down there that you need to deal with? So for me, it's when I get out of character, when I know that it's really not a big deal at the end of the day. So I feel like I
Mm.
detach from my power when I allow that person to take me out of my element.
Wow. Yeah, I could totally piggyback off of that one. Allowing somebody to take you. Yeah. I was thinking about different, mine can definitely start in childhood. Of moments where I felt like my power, um, or I was detached from it. So you think you're smart, or oh, you must think you're cute. And then I felt like I had to water it down even in those moments because,
Yeah.
I mean, when those things I guess actually are supposed to be compliments, but I didn't receive it. It felt like an insult, and it felt
Yeah.
like something that I had to hide in those moments. And so I
Mm-hmm.
only continue to use that as a foundation, probably for the rest of my life. Like, okay, we don't want to look cute. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to be perceived as thinking we're cute. We don't want to be perceived as we think we're smart. We don't want to be perceived as being too witty. We don't want to be perceived as being like the leader, or just so many different areas. And I like I said, I use that as a foundation to keep stepping on. And next thing I know, I'm flat,
Yeah.
and then trying to figure out why I'm depressed. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because it's like all this time I'm just continuously allowing myself to be flattened in those particular scenarios. So yeah, I would probably say, yeah, that those would be examples for me. I definitely know I can give like clear examples too, and I'm sure we all can relate with this. But instead, for years, when people would ask me what my profession was, I would say teacher. And yes, I am a teacher. I feel like that is a birthright of mine. I feel like that's who I am. But I wouldn't say professor. And I was very intentional about not saying professor, because I saw how people transitioned and the way they talk to me based off of me saying teacher or professor. And so I will water myself down. And then sometimes people would say, oh, she's the professor. So if I got a response like that, then I would see, this is the reason why I say teacher. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I was doing that. I guess that was my way of trying to make other people feel comfortable. I didn't want anybody to think that I thought I was better. So like just recently have I really, last couple of years, even though I've been doing it forever, it feels like that I just started allowing myself to say professor. And, you know, even doctor, I literally just started allowing myself to say doctor.
Yeah.
Like if somebody would say it to me, I would say, oh, just say Ayisha. But I'm like, I earned that shit. Like it was hard.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying? Like I went through some trials through that. So now I'm like, no, now I actually do kind of correct people in certain environments and say, no, it's doctor. So, but yeah, for a long time, those situations would make me feel really, really uncomfortable. And so, yeah, those were opportunities I guess I gave to other people and not myself, you know,
Oh, wow.
thinking that it was making them feel better. But yeah. So when we start losing our internal power, how does that show up in your life? Let me detaching, disconnecting. When we disconnect and detach from our personal power, how does that show up in our lives? And I guess we kind of said it a little bit, but let's just like pinpoint some specific examples. What does that look like for you in your day-to-day life when you detach?
Depression,
Mm.
feeling out of alignment, feeling out of control, that your life is just kind of, you're just being dragged along.
Wow.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I ditto on depression. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else?
For me,
what does that look like?
I have to. What? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kat. Go ahead, Kat.
Dr. Austin said, this is
You
good.
go.
Thank you for
You had
sharing. Thank
started.
you for being here, Dr. Austin. Dr. Austin is the chair of my dissertation committee.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh,
Amazing. Amazing.
yes.
Mentor,
So,
sister. Yeah, go ahead.
you sure you said it? But yes, hello. So I have to have a morning routine, and when I don't have a morning routine of like prayer, meditating, and getting my mind right, I am off the entire day. So I'm not even showing up as my best, and everybody they're getting like little pinches of my energy. And my whole day, it just doesn't flow well, right? Even with work, things that usually come easy for me now, I'm like, what is the answer again? Like, I'm just not showing up and being in alignment with everything in order to flow. So it's like I'm being resistant with everything. And when I'm not attached to that, I also feel like I identify problems everywhere that's usually not there if I'm flowing. So I think for me, I kind of get petty, and then I start pointing out all the things that are wrong versus all the things that are going
Oh,
well.
wow. Yeah. And that can definitely spiral. Yeah. Yeah.
So then somebody will give me a reality check, like my fiance was like, yeah, what's going on with you? You need to get it together. Then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Good for him.
Or I may see, you know, Autumn's face or Jordan's face, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then I'm back. Okay, let me reset.
Yeah.
Let me do
Good for
something to
him.
decompress. Yes. And I know, Dr. K, the diet is very extremely important, and I'm going to get on that. Okay.
Yes. No, for me, just the misalignment from the internal power for me would manifest the quickest as confusion. So it's not necessarily like gloom and doom for me. It may be like I get a whole bunch of opportunities and I'm like trying to take them all because I've lost touch with what my original vision was. And now I'm like stretched too thin and trying to overwork and take on all these things because I really didn't need these three because they weren't as aligned as these two. But I just took them all because of the confusion and chaos within that. I was just like, oh, this is nice, this is nice, this is nice, and get, burnt out. So, yeah, for me, it's just like, what did you want originally? Let's
Yeah.
stick with that. Stick
Yeah.
with the plan.
Wow. Yeah, that is good. Um, for me, signs of detached or disconnected personal power would be, oh gosh, I just lost my train of thought. Taking other people's truth as my own. And so if I talk to a friend, or if I talk to this person or this person, I know my own personal truth. But then I start listening to all these opinions and I start digesting that as if it's my own. That would be moments where I know something is off with me. And when I intentionally hide, that's the first one I was actually thinking of. So I have moments where I do feel like I need to hibernate, and I feel like that is a recharging period. But then there's other times where it's just the other extreme. I am intentionally hiding because I don't want to be seen. You know what I'm saying? And I know there's something going on with me detaching from my personal power at that point. And I will have long periods of hiding and not hibernation. I definitely know that there's a difference. You know, I can say, hey, I'm checking out. I got goals to work on. I'm doing this. To me, that's a power move.
Yeah.
But a powerless move is when I just don't want to be seen. Yeah. Yeah. So who makes you feel powerful? I feel energy in this one.
Ew.
Who or what? Or what? It can be a what too. It doesn't have to be a person.
I'll go.
Okay.
When I'm working when I'm in flow. So when I'm working on my business, when I'm working with my customers, when I'm receiving, positive feedback from them, it kind of, that motivates me. It keeps me going. And also, I feel safe around. I feel safe with you. So when I talk to you, I know that I can show up as my full self, that I can, I can go on a big rant about chakras and you won't judge me or anything. You'll go along for the ride with me. And so I feel safe. And when I feel safe and I feel in alignment, I feel my most powerful.
Aw. So. Y'all keep throwing me off with that stuff. Her cat last week and then you. Okay. All right.
It's some truth with it. It's some truth.
All right. Yeah.
I just want to say first, is she who you were telling me about that I need to meet, who about the chakra? That just jogged something in my memory when she said that. Oh, hi, girl. Hi, friend.
Okay.
We're friends already. We're friends.
Because I'll be like, girl,
I was like, wait a
his sacral chakra. I'm telling you right now. And she's like, oh, okay.
Okay. Well, I'll go next. I pretty much have the exact same answer. I was gonna say, like, family, close friends are the people. My husband, my daughter, my siblings, my mom. I get instantly restored. Like, if I'm ever starting to drift away, my daughter is like, "You are the best doctor in the entire universe," and I'm like, "The universe?" And she's like, "Yes." Or like, this is why I chose you to be my mom. It's because you handle everything with grace. You help everyone. You do this for me. And then those moments, it's like recharge, and then I'm like, okay, I can go back out here now. And I feel a lot better. I feel that even though, like, they're the closest to me, sometimes I do find myself placing, I don't want to say more value, but just kind of drifting towards the affirmations or the compliments of, like, strangers, right? So, like, people who I'm like, you don't know me at all, and you have no really like motivation to preserve my feelings at this point. You could say whatever you want. So I really like, I read
Oh,
my own
wow.
Google reviews. I like will read my reviews
Nice.
on my book on Amazon. I'll read like stuff that
Wow.
patients are saying about me, coaching clients saying about me, people who attend my lectures are saying about me. And I'm just like, you don't know me from Adam, and you have all these things to say, and I've touched you in this way, and that refuels me and keeps like recharging
You
me
know what's
as
so
well.
interesting too? I have to interject. That is, to me, that's a power move. And I'm gonna say this, I really admire that, and I'm inspired by that, because anytime I have to have like any evaluation, there are times where I ran from them, and they'd be there, but I wouldn't review them. And so
Yeah.
there was some
Yeah.
type of fear, because even though, I don't typically get negative comments, I was afraid of the one. I was afraid, you know what I'm saying? I could have 20,000 positive comments, but if I see the one, then that one would literally shut me down. I've gotten way better with that now. Now I do look at it, but it took a long time. So the fact that you allow yourself to look at the reviews and review the reviews again, I really consider that a brave move. I mean, I know that's something that you may naturally do, but I definitely have colleagues who say, I don't even look at those things. But I think it's important that we do.
It is.
Because self-inventory, self-evaluation, self-assessment is definitely key. And looking at what others have to say, even though it may not be fully truth, it does help, you know? So
Yeah.
I appreciate the fact that you allow yourself to do that. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because that would make me
Yolanda.
nervous. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, Dr. K. Who?
Who makes you feel powerful? Who or what makes you feel powerful?
If it's powerful, or is it just the feeling I get that I feel good, right? I feel it's almost like an energetic high for me, right? So I was in the business today, and I was like, oh, it feels so good. I'm so happy I get to come in here and not think about the government and just be in my full flow. So for me, I think I would have to recognize it just as a feeling, you know. And most of the time, and I'm just telling you, once I leave the government, I know I'll probably be like that probably about 70-80% of the time. But it's just feeling free for me. So it's like the business, and then when I can come home and then I see my family, like Dr. K, it's that automatic recharge, you know, for probably about 10 minutes. And then I'm like, can you just go sit down somewhere? So, but it's still that instant dose of energy that I love.
Yeah.
So I think it's everything that both Christine and Dr. K already said.
Okay. Yeah, no, I love all that. Yeah, piggybacking on all the things that I can pull on. Like I said, review is something that is new for me, as Kat said, but I love everything that was already said. Same thing for me, people in different facets though. It's not identical for it's like, to me, friends, family, they all have their own individual superpower that they gift me with. And so that personal superpower that they have and they allow themselves to share with me definitely helps me to hone in on my power. I forgot last week, I didn't even think about it, to say my brother and sister, and they are younger, but I don't know, they make me feel, they do make me feel powerful. And of course, you know, we have our own sibling stuff, but I don't, somehow when I'm around them, there's like a sense of appreciation and empowerment. I don't know if it's because I feel like they're my babies in a sense. I don't know what that is. And then I'm so proud because the youngers, in certain instances, they become the elders too. And so to see them even in that light and to see their wisdom also, for whatever reason, makes me feel powerful because I feel like I was a part of that. Or I feel like it's a gift in the moment too. That's even a learning experience too, that I can learn from younger people as well. But my students definitely, I feel empowered by them. I feel they demonstrate it though too, to show me what it should look like. You know what I'm saying? So I keep saying I constantly feel like when I'm in that environment that it's a constant exchange. That even though I am supposed to be the leader in that sense, they also become the leaders too. So I appreciate what I learned from them. I do feel like I get power from the ancestors because I feel them so strong. And so there are moments that I can just think about my grandfather and I feel powerful from like examples that he said, or I can hear things that he said, or my godmother or my uncle. So those who have crossed over, I feel like they fizzle stuff, like they sprinkle dust on us, some type of fairy dust on us that helps to empower us, me as well. So yes, those are some of the things that make me feel powerful. So when you witness someone, next question, second to last question, when you witness someone who seems to not be as empowered as you're familiar with that person, how do you help them? How do you address it?
I'll go on that one.
Okay.
I try to, I don't want to interfere too much. You know, you want to be careful because people are in different places in their journey and there are things that folks have to figure out. And I think about times when I haven't felt in my power, and if someone jumped in and tried to fix it for me, I never would have learned the lesson that I needed to learn. So just letting them know that, you know, you're there for them, you hold space for them, affirm them in ways that you need to. Let them know you're there for them, I think is really important, and check in on them. But we have to make sure that we don't overstep and try to fix something, you know, that they need to figure out on their own.
Yeah. And that can be tough too. When you feel like you want to handhold or you want to jump right in, but you know it's something that the person has to figure out on their own. You
want to help course correct, but it's not your course to correct. You know what I'm saying? So
Yolanda, Kat?
I'll go. So yes, I agree with you, everything you just said, Christine. So for because I'm wearing so many hats, so let me example, being a business owner and then being in the business, I, even though I can see what will happen, I have to sit back and allow it to happen for those lessons to be learned. It's hard because at first I'm like, no, you got to do this. And they're like, well, where's the data? I don't have the data. I can just tell you this is what's going to happen. So now it's just for me to do it. And I just say, hey, just so you know, we need to prepare for this, because if we don't change how we're navigating right now, you know, this may happen in the future. So at first it used to give me a lot of anxiety. So now I just let things unfold, and then people kind of understand the things that needed to be worked on, or it could have been me that was part of the problem, you know. So I just allow those things to happen, and I don't try to fix anymore. I just give the information, and if we're in agreement, we'll move forward. If we don't, you know, we don't. And I just let things take its course now. Okay. Now, in some relationships, it's hard. Like with my siblings, it's hard. It's really hard. So I still try to navigate those, right? I still try to navigate those areas. But outside of that, then like with my fiance and kids, those areas are hard, very hard for me to discern. So a lot of times I have to take a step back. But say if it's anything that's like work related and not people I love, it's easy for me to kind of lay back and just say, you know, hey, like you are, like I'm here. If you need me, to just be mindful these things may happen, but it's up to you to do the work of whatever you need to do. And sometimes I may not say anything. I just like, oh, okay, whatever, you know. So it
Yeah.
just depends. Yeah.
Okay.
I agree with both answers. I think, like for me, I'll just straight up ask the person what they
Yeah.
want. So if I notice from afar that someone is straying away from their power, I'll just, ask like, do you prefer I hold space for you, or do you
Mm-hmm.
prefer that I jump in? Because to Christine's point, like that's something I had to master for myself
Yes.
because I am a fixer at
Me
my
too.
core. Like my birth placement, I'm the firstborn in a Nigerian family. Like I am the fixer. Anything wrong, fix it. Then I went
Yeah.
into a
Mm-hmm.
profession of fixing
Mm-hmm.
on a daily basis. I am a fixer. Then I became a coach. Okay,
Yeah.
if the physical wasn't enough, let me fix the mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, social, ancestral part of you as well. So for me to not fix, it's like, yeah, with the
Right.
answer. But I have had to coach my
Mm-hmm.
own self, like, oh, so you're getting warmer,
Yeah.
like game warmer, hot, cold, or like
Yeah.
hands off.
Mm.
And the way I learned it the best was actually through
Mm.
parenting and being put in situations where you have to let them fall. And
Wow.
it's like,
Mm.
Mm.
it's like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excuse me? I just want to save you from everything
Right.
painful. But like,
Right.
where's the learning in that? So for me, if the
Mm-hmm.
person willingly came to me for help or said, yes, I'm lost, I'm drifted, help me, I would go right into coaching
Mm-hmm.
mode to help them navigate whatever the waters are. If they're a friend, I go right into accountability mode. I'm like, okay, I know this is your thing. So this really
Yeah.
Yeah.
involves knowing your friends, like not just being friends for the gram, like just actually knowing your friends. Because then I'll know, okay, Yolanda, when
Mm-hmm.
you start eating these certain
Yeah.
things, you've drifted. Let me help you restore. Let me
Right.
do this cleanse with you. Let's just do fruits and veggies for 6 days, nothing too
Right.
much. And we'll do
Yeah.
it together. And I'll put myself out there. And then I know if I haven't seen Ayisha in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's hiding. She's falling off. She's trying not to be seen. I go and I pull her out of the dark. What are
Mm-hmm.
you doing? You are beautiful. You are
Mm-hmm.
powerful. Get
Mm-hmm.
yourself out here and do and I know Christine, if there's a little depressed mood going on, I'm like, nah, let's go to the fair. Come
Yeah.
join me. We're going to the mall. Like we're going. And so that's the mode that I jump into, is like knowing
Mm-hmm.
my friends, knowing their triggers, knowing what their default is when they step away from their power, when they're
Yeah.
super stressed out, when they're super overwhelmed,
Mm-hmm.
and just calling a spade a spade. Like, you told me you eat candy when you're stressed out. I saw the Skittles.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on? Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. What's, and just
Yeah.
work through it
No.
from
So
there.
good. So good. Um, yeah, ditto. I don't even think I really have anything to add. Yeah, I really don't. I don't have anything. Yeah. No. I can't even pull. I was going to, I told you there are times when I've been trying to be deep. I can't even get deep on that one. Ditto to everything that was said. Yeah. I'm notorious. I'll just say this. I'm notorious for check-ins. So if I'm feeling something, then I'm like, hey, just checking in.
Yeah, you
It'll be something
are.
short.
Yeah.
That's
You're good for
yeah.
that.
You're good at that. Yeah.
That's my way of letting you know I love you, but then I'm feeling something too. But I don't want to say too much because I understand boundaries.
Right.
So it's one extreme
Mm-hmm.
to the next for me. It's love or I'm feeling something.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just say, hey, just checking in. And it might just
Mm-hmm.
be something simple like that. Because I think sometimes people just want to know that they're seen. Even if
Absolutely.
you're going through, you just want to
Mm-hmm.
know
Mm-hmm.
somebody remembers me, somebody sees
You're not
me in those
alone.
moments. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, in those
Yeah.
powerless moments.
Mm-hmm.
All right, last one. So are some tools or some advice you would give to how do we regain our power? How do we restore it? How do we become more in alignment with our personal power?
Mine is something Yolanda said earlier, which is having a daily intentional practice for yourself. Even if it's just going for a walk, trying to reconnect with nature, whatever, getting up in the morning and having, before your day is supposed to start, getting up and having some time for yourself, whether it's just to have some tea, to journal, to do a little meditation, something for yourself before the rest of your day is set, where you're doing things for everybody else, because then you're not pouring from a full cup, basically. So yeah, daily practice is important.
Okay.
Yeah.
Routine.
Yeah. Routines. What Christine just said. And the other thing is, for us, we are aware, right? But a lot of people, like Ayisha, you've already said, are not aware of even what their own personal power is. So as Dr. K always say, a vision. Like, so getting clear on your vision of what it is and what it actually feels like. What do you feel like your superpower actually is? And getting a daily regimen to connect you with that power, and a coach, a therapist. So it's like different tools you can use to get there, but I think you got to get clear on what that vision is, what you want your life to look like, and like what is your superpower, or what do you define as your own power?
Yeah, that's good. Having a goal and working your way towards it. And then if you have to have tools along the way, like you said, like a therapist, like a coach, like a morning routine, those are good routines to get towards the vision. But yeah, the vision is definitely important. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because like a lot of
that's the roadmap. Otherwise, you don't know where you're going. You don't have that roadmap, right?
Yes,
exactly.
The roadmap, the blueprint is extremely important. Yeah.
Because like some of the same conversations that I have, like with people I grew up with or people I've been disconnected, is not the same anymore. So our interests are different. Our energy is different. Like, there is really no vibing. It's a high and a bye. I hope you're doing well. I hope your family is doing well. But it's really no added value to what I have going on right now. And I think that's the difference since I've moved back home. We just don't vibe. We're just in two different places. Like, if you want to have conversations about, different things outside of your normal 9 to 5 and working and going home, then let's have that. But a lot of times is vibing with the people that are on my same level, and not meaning that I'm better than them, but just on the same energetic frequency and vibrations. Because that's very important to me. And I didn't know how important it was until I moved back to the country. And it's something, when you're not around a lot of highly motivated people trying to seek better improvement, the vibrations are low here. So it's hard. So I have to reach out to my friends. My fiance and I had a conversation. I really don't have any local friends here. So I have to reach out to different states, to my different people that vibe on the same frequency that I vibe on, as well. I think that's important too, is the people that you're around and you make the decision to surround yourself with.
This is another thing too. I guess is what we already said this earlier. Do you think that the vibrations are low, or is there just a lack of awareness?
I think it's both. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it's both, right? Because has anybody ever grew up in the country before? Like when I say country, meaning your nearest store is 20 minutes away.
Okay.
Like you only have like 5 stoplights, if that, in the area.
Thank you for the description.
So I think it's awareness, not knowing any better. So the awareness was still not knowing any better, and just your environment you're in, because you're taught to have the 9 to 5. You're going to retire for this manufacturing company, in 30 years, 40 years. So I think that's kind of the norm in some areas. Outside of race, you have different things that set you up for success. But unfortunately, in our culture, that's not how it is, you know,
Okay.
locally. So I think it's a lot of factors there, but yeah.
All right. Thank you for the description.
Yes.
of your country experience. All right, Kat, did you want to add something?
Um, so the original question is how to
Yeah, some
align with our
advice.
power, if you want to, or just how, okay. Oh, on how to do. Okay, so I actually strongly agree with what's been said, both answers. I'm just gonna sandwich it with two
Okay.
breads. So I think a prerequisite to what Christine said would be wanting to align with your power in the first
Oh,
place. Like, is this something that do you actually desire this? Because
Wants
we're
to,
just
yep.
assuming that everyone wants
mm,
this, and everyone may even be assuming that they want this because it sounds great at the end when you've aligned, but the aligning process can be actually a little bit
yeah,
Yeah.
turbulent, so to speak.
Yes.
So when you commit, you have to really, okay, I'm ready to align with my power. You have to know that you will
yeah,
unapologetically ruffle some feathers. And then you may, to Yolanda's point, be separated
mm,
from childhood friends and
Mm-hmm.
people that you've known for your whole life. And you may start to find a
Mm-hmm.
distance. It's not bad blood or it's not hate or anything. It's just that we're just in two
mm,
different trajectories right now. Where I'm going, you may
Mm-hmm.
not need to come this
Yeah.
season. I might see you in a few seasons. So you just have to understand that it's not always like a beautiful
Mm-mm.
love
yeah,
and light situation. It's a part of growth. And then at the end, I would say once you've like fully professed this is what you want, you've gotten started, you're aligning your people around you and all those things, you want to make sure that you have aligned your life
Yep.
with
mm,
this vision of power that Yolanda spoke of. Like you have to see it. Like you have to, should ask questions like, what does it smell like? What does it taste like? What does it
yeah,
feel like? And then you should be able to align yourself so much that you're almost confusing your own
Yeah.
subconscious mind.
mm,
You're confusing people looking from the
yeah,
outside looking in, like, wait, is she powerless or is she like you're just in there, you're waking up with a routine of somebody of power, you're eating,
yeah,
putting things in your body, as with someone with power, you're nourishing your mind with educational
yeah,
content, you're making time for yourself, your self-care, taking care of yourself, you're doing all of these things on a regular basis, like unapologetically, like
yeah,
I'm not compromising this at all. This is a hard no, this is a hard
mm-hmm,
stop. And I feel like that is part of stepping into your power, is making sure all the aspects of your
yeah,
life are aligning with
Yeah.
this
mm-hmm,
vision of you and your power.
Yeah.
yeah. No, good. Again, I don't really have anything to add. Once again, I don't really have anything to add. I'll just reiterate what I said earlier, which I feel like is kind of summarizing what everybody said. Are you willing to keep the A?
Yeah.
So we have the A. You started out with an A. Are you willing to do the work to keep it? And so, of course, that looks like, so we know that's the vision, like
Yeah.
Yolanda was saying earlier, but then how do we keep it? How do we maintain it? What are we willing to let go? What are we willing to pull in? What are we willing to face?
Yep.
All of that to maintain it, because it's definitely maintenance. So, yeah, and I'm even thinking about, when we have destinations to go places and the airplane doesn't go because it shuts down because of maintenance. The destination is there, but sometimes shutdown is a part of it too.
Yeah.
Are we willing to do that? And that's sometimes hard because people, like I was saying in the last live, sometimes people vibrate off of other people's energy.
Yep.
Specifically, they need that to live, but sometimes they have to detach to hone in on this power. So yeah, are you willing to sit and wait? Are you willing to be in a holding pattern? That can be tough too for a lot of people. So yeah, and there are times where I was like, I had moments where I was like, you know what? I think I might be okay with a B. You
Right.
know, just because of where I was at the moment in my life. Sometimes
Yep.
I was like, yeah, a B. I don't always want to be an A, you know, but I couldn't live with that. Those were momentary things. I couldn't live with the B. I couldn't live with the C. But there were moments where I was like, you know what? I'm okay with a C this week, you know. So, but yeah, I can't stay there. And like we were talking about earlier, that's when other feelings, depression, and all that stuff starts getting in the way, is when I allow myself to stay there. So, thank you, ladies, for this great talk on detaching, not losing, detaching and disconnecting from our personal and internal power and finding ways to regain it. Christine, you didn't tell us about yourself. I want to make sure we honed in and now calling you out.
So I have a shop called Sanctuary Decor. It's on Etsy, and it's a crystal shop. I've been around for 6 years now, and I'm also venturing into the energy healing space. So I do work on myself and on close friends and family. And I'm hoping to expand next year, offering those services to the public and doing remote Reiki. So you can find me on Etsy and Instagram at Sanctuary Decor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm in
Would you say
Where are you
Southern
located?
California.
Where can we find you?
I'm in SoCal, but
Southern California.
yeah, but you know, we might have to link up in some place like Costa Rica or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, Costa Rica. Okay.
I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
All right, and then of course, Yolanda and Kat, tell us where to find you as well.
Go ahead, Kat.
So, okay. All right. You can find me at all things Elevate with Dr. K. So social media platforms are all at Elevate with DRK. Website elevatewithdrk.com. My practice is here in Atlanta. In Atlanta, Georgia. Mind, Body, Spirit Wellness Center.
All right, thank you, Yolanda.
Awesome. I can't wait to get some crystals and some Reiki. Okay.
Yes.
So Yolanda, I had to think about it. Instagram. I'm getting back into social media. Took a hiatus from that. Website is yolandajstone.com for readings, coaching, and things of that manner. And also, I co-own a mental health business, PWP Health. We are hiring in Chicago. So if you know somebody that's looking for work in Chicago and have a mental health background for caseworkers, please visit www.pwphealth.com and apply. And Indeed, too. We're on Indeed, so.
All right. Oh, no. Awesome. Can you repeat the website again? Because
Sure.
I didn't hear it clear.
Sure. pwphealth.com.
Okay. Perfect. I wanted to make sure the people in the back heard it.
Gotcha.
All right. And you can find me at Ayisha Zakia Beautiful Life, and life is spelled LYF on all social media platforms. And my website is beautifullife.com. And I will see you guys next week.
Bye. Bye, ladies.
Bye. Nice to meet you.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.